Welcome to Agile Avengers' second ever vlog.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking today a bit about charters, why they're important. We're going to be talking about our charter, which we sketched on a piece of paper and we have a picture of from our very first session. Where should we start?
Shall we start with what our charter is?
Yeah.
Then we'll talk through maybe how we created it and a couple of the reasons why it's been so important for us so far.
Let's do it.
Cool. So, point number one on our charter. So these are all things that we as a squad have agreed to, how we want to work, and they're things as well that we will call out if each other are not following what we kind of originally set up to as well. So that's really, really important when you kind of create a charter. So the first one is total transparency and honesty between ourselves. So, yeah, sorry, I was going to say something, you were going to say something.
The reason that a charter is so important is it's a universally set of agreed behaviours that the squads can get behind. Interesting, this one came up first. I think this is one that most teams would actually agree is really important, to be honest with each other, to be transparent. That can cover such a broad range of situations and circumstances.
Definitely.
So it's good that it came up first. I've actually seen this come up in a couple of other squads' charters quite quickly. But total honesty, transparency, it's important for so many reasons. I mean, initially, as our squad, building agileavengershub.com, we've got to be honest about our capacity.
Yeah.
We've got to be transparent about how much time we have on any given day or any week, as this is a thing that's on the side of our day jobs within our corporate life.
Yeah.
It's really important to go, guys, I've got so much on this week, I'm not going to be able to help in the way that you might want me to. Or I've got more free time, how can I help?
Yeah.
I don't quite know what to do here, but let me get stuck in, whatever it is. And it's just really important for us as a team.
Definitely. It's something that I think it's also probably one of the ones that you could trip over on. Everyone says that they'll be open, honest, transparent. Not always easy to do, so it's definitely something that you kind of need to build and build up the trust around each other for that as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's...
Cool. Number 2, respecting each other and our clients. On hindsight, the client's word is interesting. It sounds very formal, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Do you know, as soon as you said it, I was looking at it and thinking, why did we choose that word?
Maybe we could revisit it.
Yeah.
I think respecting each other plus clients. Clients kind of encompasses, it could be partners, other people we're working with that aren't in our immediate team. So anyone that we come into contact with as a brand, as an organisation outside of the immediate squad. Why do you think respect is important?
I think, so for me this one is about, it's obvious why respect is important in day-to-day life anyway, but respecting each other and our clients, I think the clients bit is really interesting because that's about respecting their needs, respecting what they're asking for, respecting their situations as well is really important. And ultimately, we're here to deliver to them, so we absolutely need to respect what their wishes are, what they need from us. Situations, you know, we're going to be reaching out for things like feedback. We need to respect the fact that we're not top of everyone else's priority list.
Yeah.
So it might take us some time to get things like that. Likewise, we need to respect each other's situation. So when we were first setting up what our cadence was and we were agreeing what evenings to meet up, everyone had different commitments on different evenings, and we all had to kind of respect the fact that people aren't going to give up, you know, travel and things like that as well. People aren't going to give up something that they're already doing. So we needed to be flexible and respect each other's kind of situations.
Yeah.
So we were working a way around that, you know, doing remote things, doing things on Slack, all those different ways. But it's about kind of respecting people's situations. And people don't need to go into detail about what's going on. You know, if I've got a commitment one evening, I don't feel the need to tell anybody. People just respect that I can make a priority call about where my priorities are.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me that's kind of something that I've seen a lot of already actually. Team have been really, really respectful of each other. So we just need to make sure we kind of continue that.
Yeah. I think respect is so important for an agile team because so much of what we do is about reflecting, iterating, and taking what hasn't worked well or what has worked well and utilising that moving forward. If you don't have any respect for each other, if you don't have respect for someone, when they put forward an idea or a suggestion, you're not going to take it on board, you're not going to listen to it, And actually, when you're in a team environment and you're doing something like a retrospective or refinement or sprint planning or reviewing each other's work, there, even if the work doesn't quite meet the mark in terms of is it good for the customer, an element of respect for each other goes, do you know what, you've worked really hard on this, so the way that I'm going to provide this feedback is in a respectful way for your talent, for your ability, your commitment to this piece of work, but it's not quite right for the customer at this time. And actually, when you've got a mutual respect, when you're giving the feedback as well as receiving it, you can take it in the right way.
Definitely.
When you don't have respect for people, whether it's for like a boss or a co-worker, the relationship just becomes nearly impossible because you haven't got that mutual respect and you're always on the back foot, you're being defensive. So I think respect for an agile team specifically is so key because all of those ceremonies that you do are so reliant on a respect amongst the team. And as you said, I think we've had that really quickly. It helps that people work together.
Yeah, definitely.
We've all known each other for a little while, but that's really key. Number 3, do you want to do number 3?
Yes, so we have each other's backs. So this one, really like this one, because it's not maybe one of the more obvious that people might pick, but we said it was really important that we had each other's backs. Key example, things that we've done already, we've been writing blogs as well as doing vlogs, and hands up, I am not the best writer in the world. I can get my thoughts down on paper, but with grammar and spelling and things like that, it's not my forte, it's not my strength. So, you straight away said to me, like, I'm going to review it. I've made these changes, and we've got that sort of, that respect and everything there already, that I know you've got my back. You're not going to let me put something out that's absolutely shit.
It won't be long before we just speak into our phones and it'll auto dictate and also write everything we say. It's a temporary solution.
Yeah, exactly that. So, but I absolutely know that you're going to make sure it comes out in the best way and vice versa and things like that. So, it's kind of, that's what we mean by it. We're not going to let each other fall over. We are a team. If one person fails or makes a mistake, we all do. Likewise, when we succeed, which we will, it will be all of us that do it together.
Yeah, it's almost like, so saying that you've got each other's back is actually kind of a more real way, I feel, of just saying we trust each other. Like the more generic phrase there could have just been, we trust each other, which is relevant and it makes sense. But having each other's backs is something more than that. It's more than just trust. It's a sense of like you're looking ahead for their best interest.
Yeah.
And when we're working so closely around our day jobs, around family commitments, and it's a startup type environment, having each other's backs goes beyond just a piece of work or a communication or whatever it is. It's kind of, it's more than that. So I think it's a really good catch-all for the trust.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of team thing. Number 4. Take a chance.
Take a chance. This is an interesting one. I think we actually probably did break into song a little bit whilst we were saying this.
We did. I was about to then. I was like, probably not the best thing to do.
That's why it's in my head. I'm singing it to myself. And I guess what we mean by this was, it's really easy to fall back into your comfort zone, and it's really easy to fall back to what you know and what you're good at. So for us, it was really important that actually we did push the boundaries, we did push ourselves, we did take a chance on this, and make it happen. So, I think it is literally as simple as making sure we take a chance. But by having something like that in our charter, we'll quite often go back and look at this, and we go back and go, actually, can we honestly say we have stuck to all these things over the last few sprints? And it just takes you back, and we can actually then just use it for things like retros and reflecting and go, did we really take a chance, or could we have taken a bigger step? Could we have taken a bigger chance there? So it's nice to have those ones in there as well.
Yeah, take a chance is so key for a startup as well. So when everything is an unknown, you could take any number of directions, and any one is risky. Everything you do essentially is taking a chance.
Yeah.
So you have to be quite comfortable with that way of doing things. What I love about a guy called Jack Welch. So Jack Welch was the group CEO of General Electric from I think 1980-ish to the late 90s, early 2000s. It was about a 20-year span, and he took it from I think it was like tens of billions of revenue to nearly 100 billion revenue. It was massive growth. Don't quote me on those figures, but huge growth over his career. He was just like instrumental in turning GE from a big business to like a humongous business. And he did loads of good stuff. And in his biography at the end, his autobiography, the key learning that he says is, over the years there were so many things that I should have acted on way quicker than I did. And he was known for making quick decisions, being quite snappy, quite dynamic. But he says his biggest regret is that he didn't move quick enough on a load of those key decisions. And actually, when you're in a startup type environment, you've got that opportunity to take a chance and be very quick. And actually, in our situation, especially as an agile team, part of being an agile team means reflecting, iterating, making decisions quite quickly off the back of stuff you've just learned. So I think take a chance is relevant for us as an agile team.
Definitely.
Relevant for us as a startup environment. Relevant for us as individuals as well. Because I think on a personal level, the only way you grow most of the time is by taking a chance. And whether that's signing up to the gym for the first time, or talking to that girl that you see across the room that you like the look of, or deciding you're going to take up that hobby and get a yoga mat, or start a business. So I think it's really key on so many levels. So it's really cool that it made it into our charter.
Definitely.
Number 5?
Number 5, practice what you/we preach. I've also written a blog on this one.
You have?
Yes.
We will put a link to that blog below somewhere, so check it out.
Somewhere, somehow. Yeah, so this one is something that actually has probably come to light for me quite recently. As Scrum Masters, we very often talk about, breaking stuff down, getting your epics, breaking it down into user stories, reflecting on what's gone well, what's not gone well, and kind of taking time out to do all of those activities. And I quite quickly realised that I wasn't doing that myself. And I think that that's where some of this has come from. It's, we're putting this stuff out there. We're putting all of these agile best practices and tools and resources out there. However, we suddenly realise that maybe we should make sure we're practicing what we're preaching. We need to make sure that we're kind of on track with this. We're using these things as we go along. And I think that's actually where this vlog came from.
Yeah.
So that's where we decided, actually, let's kind of vlog our journey and start making sure that we can kind of bring it to life for people as well, and show that we're using all of these tools, all of these resources, all of this knowledge, exactly how we're putting it out to you guys, and we're using it in our journey from start-up all the way through to wherever we might end up.
And what's interesting about this one as well, since we've began, it's very easy to just do stuff. You think you know what the next step is, so you just crack on and do it.
Yep.
Especially when in a startup environment, there's literally 6 of us in this squad. We can all kind of touch on what each other's doing. It's very easy just to ram ahead. And actually, for us to just take ourselves back to, we are a Scrum team. We're practicing Agile.
Yeah.
How are we going to do this in a way that sets us up for success further down the line? That's things like taking the time to do your estimation for the stories moving through the board. Taking time to do the retro. We very quickly, it was in Sprint 0, at the end of Sprint 0, we did the review, and we actually skipped the retro because 2 of us had dialed in. And afterwards, I think we thought back and we were like,
what are we doing?
We've literally not done the most important thing that any Scrum team can do at the very first hurdle. So it's so easy to just crack on and do what you think needs doing, without actually sticking to what you are talking about from an Agile perspective, practicing what you preach, and following the very resources that you know are actually going to benefit you.
Yeah.
It almost gives you a bit of an empathy for product owners, tribe leads, people within the businesses, the larger businesses, when they've just got a brief or they've got an initiative and they want to crack on as fast as they can. I think it does give you a slight empathy when you are more in their shoes in this environment.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Really helpful. I'm sure there will be a blog, further blogs about empathy in that sense. But so that's 5.
That's 5.
5 things on our charter.
Really
Total
simple.
honesty and transparency. Number 2 is respecting others and clients. Number 3.
We have each other's backs.
Number 4.
Take a chance.
And number 5.
Practice what we preach.
So that's our charter. Hope that was useful. We'll be back again very soon.
Bye.